Hello students, in the previous lectures we have discussed about prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell, different cell organelles present in the eukaryotic cell, single membrane bound structure, double membrane bound structure, and in the very last lecture we were discussing about cilia and flagella. Okay, so you have seen the basics about the cilia and flagella. You have seen about the differences between the prokaryotic flagella and eukaryotic flagella. So now we will discuss about the structure of a eukaryotic cilia or flagella. Okay, so one by one, the first statement is the electron microscopic study of a cilium or a flagellum shows that they are covered with a plasma membrane. Okay, this plasma membrane was absent in prokaryotic flagella. Okay, so this is the one of the difference between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic flagella. Okay, next point, second point is their core are called as axonymi, possess a number of microtubules running parallel to the long axis. The axonymi usually has 9 doublets of the radially arranged peripheral microtubules and a pair of centrally located microtubules. Such an arrangement of axonymal microtubules is referred to as 9 plus 2 array. Okay, and now we will see all the things in the diagram. Okay, just suppose this one is the any eukaryotic cell, and if this is the flagella, this one is the flagella, then we have to see in the microscope so that you can see the whole length and breadth. So if this is the flagella, then this is the core part. You have to named it as axonymi, and a plasma membrane, a covering is covered this axonymi. So plasma membrane is all around the flagella, and the core part is known as axonymi. Okay, this is the core part known as axonymi, and inside the axonymi the arrangement is 9 plus 2. This arrangement is of microtubules. How it is looking, you can see in this diagram. This is Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is a unicellular algae, so it is a eukaryotic cell. Okay, and it contain this chloroplast. I have already told you it contain U-shaped chloroplast. So this one is the chloroplast in green color. This is only one chloroplast and it is U-shape, and it contain a large nucleus, this Chlamydomonas. Okay, and because it is it shows movement, so it contains large amount of mitochondria also. And what is this pyrenoid? Pyrenoid is the stored form of starch, because the function of chloroplast is the production of glucose, which converted into starch as a stored food. So it is stored in the form of a pyrenoid body. Okay, it also contain eye spot. Eye spot means it is a light sensitive area, it can sense the light. Okay, and now we will see the diagram of a flagella. So um, this is this Chlamydomonas contain two flagella. Okay, two flagella are present in a Chlamydomonas. So you can see single flagellum. Okay, it is and if you see the second flagella, its labeling is axonymi. Axonymi represents the core part. Now see the this diagram. The core region is axonymi. Okay, and the outer region is plasma membrane covering. Okay, and inside this axoneme there is arrangement of microtubules, means a section cutting of flagellum. Here this is the section cutting. Section cutting means transverse section. Okay, means this is the flagella and you cut like this, and you are seeing a top view. Okay, so this is the top view of flagellum. So in the center you can see the two microtubules. Microtubules are like this. It is made up of globular proteins known as tubulin, alpha and beta. So alpha and beta are arranged and it forms this coiled structure like this. So this is one microtubule, and similarly this is second microtubule. So these two microtubules you can see in the center region. Okay, here in the center region you can see the two microtubule. Okay, and at the peripheral region you can see in the doublet form, total 9 doublets are present. You can see in the diagram given below. Here this is central microtubules, this one and this one, and these one are the 9 microtubules. This is one pair, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8 and 9. So it is 9 at periphery plus 2 at the center, hence it is 9 plus 2 arrangement of the microtubules. Okay, and this 9 microtubules actually it is present in doublet form. Doublet means if we see the lateral view, microtubule will look like this. Okay, doublet means 2 microtubules, but if we see the top view, the microtubule will show a circle. Okay, microtubule is actually if you see the top view, this is complete circle, but in doublet form the second microtubule is not complete, it is incomplete. So it shows like this, means this is one complete microtubule, and above this is incomplete microtubule. Okay, so it is named as A, the complete ring, and incomplete ring is known as B. So in each doublet you can see a complete ring and second one is incomplete ring, means A and B. This is a one doublet. Okay, so this doublet total are 9. In this way, if we see only the peripheral part, means total 9 doublets, the total number of microtubule in the periphery is 9. It is present in doublet form, so 9 into 2 equals to 18. And in the central region 2 more microtubules are present, one is this, another is this, so plus 2, total 20. So total 20 microtubules are present in a flagellum. Okay, in spite of this you can see in this diagram the plasma membrane surrounds the complete flagellum. Okay, and this is the peripheral microtubule present in doublet form, and central microtubules are forming around the central microtubule. A sheath is present known as central sheath. Okay, and from each A microtubule of the doublet one radial spoke is arising. This is the radial spokes you can see, and it directed towards the central region. From each A microtubule one radial spoke is arising which facing towards center. Okay, and every A microtubule is connected with the preceding B ring with the help of interdoublet bridge. Here means it is like this. If this is A ring, its B ring is this, its successive airing and its bearing, then it is connected like this. This is the bridge. Okay, if you see the doublet uh, of behind this doublet, then this is the interbridge. Okay, so in this way you can see each doublet is connected with the another doublet. Okay, so this is the arrangement of microtubules in the flagellum. So I hope that you understand the arrangement. Okay, so don't be panic so much. Here very simple diagram, it is very simple diagram. If you see 2 to 3 times, you have to remember that it has 9 plus 2 arrangement, 9 microtubules in the form of doublet present at periphery, and 2 microtubules in singlet form present in the center. Okay, these are singlet microtubules. These are doublet, and the central part microtubules are in singlet form. Okay, these are arranged, and the whole structure is covered with the help of plasma membrane. That's it. Okay, so this was written here in the second line. Okay, you can read 2 to 3 times, then you will able to understand all the things. Now the third point, the central tubules are connected by bridge and is also enclosed by central sheath. Okay, so you can see here this and this central tubules are interconnected with this bridge. Okay, and along with that it is also covered with central sheath. Which is again third point, the central tubules are connected by bridges and is also enclosed by a sheath which is connected to one of the tubules of each peripheral doublets by radial spoke. Okay, in this diagram you can see the radial spoke, it is connected to the central sheath. Fourth point, thus there are 9 radial spokes. The peripheral doublets are also interconnected by linkers. Okay, that is called AB linker. Both the cilium and flagellum emerge from centriole like structure called basal bodies. Means if you look at this or this flagellum at the base here, this is called basal body, and from this in this basal body the structure which is present known as centriole. Means if this is the chlamydomonas, then this flagellum and this flagellum, it consists of two parts. One is this, that is called filament, and at the base the structure which is present known as basal body, and in the basal body it is actually centriole. Okay, so from the centriole this flagellum is arising. Okay, so this is about the structure of a eukaryotic cilia or flagella. Okay, now the next cell organelle is centrosome and centriole. Centrosome is an organelle usually containing two cylindrical structures called centrioles. In the cell, just outside the nuclear membrane, you have seen if this is a nucleus and this centrosome is present here. Okay, this centrosome contain two cylindrical structure and known as centriole, this like and this, because this is present at perpendicular to each other. These are the two centrioles. Okay, the centrosome itself not surrounded by any membrane, it is also a membraneless structure, centriole as well as centrosome both. They are surrounded by amorphous pericentriolar material. Means around the centrosome only the amorphous. Amorphous means some powdery form of liquid is present at periphery of this centriole, okay, but not any membrane. Both the centriole in the centrosome lie perpendicular to each other, in which each has an organization like the cart wheel. Means in the detailed diagram we will see the centriole how it is look like. Means if uh, enlarge this diagram, then centriole, here centriole is looking like this, but actually the centriole is, when we see the transverse section, means cut this, and from this view, or if we cut this centriole and view from the top, then it will show a cart wheel like structure. Cart wheel means वही बैलगाड़ी. Okay, so in the next diagram, in the next slide, we will see the diagram how it is looking like a cart wheel. Okay, so it is talking about centriole, and in centriole it is talking about transverse section, actually transverse section. Okay, so again they are made up of 9 evenly spaced peripheral fibrils of the tubulin protein with 9 plus 0 arrangement, because it is centriole. And we have seen in the in the cytoskeleton part that cilia, flagella, microtubules, means cilia, flagella and centriole all are made up of tubulin protein. Tubulin protein forms the microtubules. Okay, so the arrangement is in the centriole is 9 plus 0. Okay, in the cilium and flagellum the arrangement was 9 plus 2, but here the arrangement is 9 plus 0. Okay, we will see later. Each of the peripheral fibril is triplet. In case of cilium and flagellum, the peripheral fibrils were doublet, but here in the centriole the peripheral fibrils will be in triplet form. Means 3 microtubules will be present. The adjacent triplet are also linked. Okay, that in the flagellum and cilium the doublet are interconnected with the help of A-B linker. Here again triplets are connected. Here the, if it is triplet, then the ring will be A, B and C. So A and C linker will be present in the centriole. Central part of the proximal region of the centriole is also proteinaceous and called hub, because here the arrangement is 9 plus 0. So at the periphery 9 fibrils will be present, but in the center no microtubules are present because it is 0. So in the central part the space is filled with a proteinaceous rod like structure, and this proteinaceous rod is known as hub, which is connected with the tubules of the peripheral triplet by radial spoke made up of protein. So the function of the centriole is, centriole forms the basal body of the cilium and flagellum, as we have seen in the cilium and flagellum. The second function of centriole is it forms the spindle fibers that give rise to spindle apparatus during cell division in animal cells. Okay, spindle fiber during the cell division, this is the spindle fiber, and to this spindle fiber all the chromosome will be attached. So this fibrils again made up of centriole. Okay, so these are the diagrams. The first diagram you can see this centrosome. So in the centrosome you can see the amorphous part. This is the amorphous part. The line, the peripheral line you are seeing is not a membrane. Okay, this is this boundary is not present, because this amorphous part is continuous with the cytoplasm around it. Okay, so don't confuse. And these are the two centrioles. This is centriole and this is second centriole both are present perpendicular to each other, and the amorphous liquid is known as centrosphere. Okay, so in this diagram, the centrosome, centro means center, some means body, so it is a body, and centro, again center, or centro stand for centriole actually. Okay, so the centrosome means it is a body which contain centriole. Centrosphere, sphere means this surrounding a ball like structure. So it is a ball like structure which contain centriole. So this is the ball like structure, or you can say the amorphous liquid part. Okay, and therefore centrosome with a pair of centrosome is with pair of centriole. If pair of centriole is present, then it is known as diplosome. Okay, diplosome. And now see the diagram of centriole. This is the lateral view. In the lateral view, you can see at the peripheral part triplets are present. Total 9 triplets are present. The diagram given in the at the bottom, this is the transverse section of the centriole. This clearly shown you that 9 triplets at the periphery, but at the in the center part there is no microtubule. Okay, these are the 1 2 3 here A, B and C. A ring is complete, B ring is incomplete, C ring again incomplete. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 9, total 9 triplets are present. So 9, but in the center there is no centriole, so it is 0. 9 plus 0 arrangement. But here the peripheral part is made up of 3 in each triplet fibrils. There is 3 microtubules are present. One ring is complete and 2 rings are incomplete. Okay, in the central part, where no any microtubules are present, so it is covered with a proteinaceous rod structure. Here it is a transverse section, so you are seeing a circle, but in the lateral view it is actually a rod like structure. This is known as hub. Okay, and each a part, a microtubule is connected with the C part of the preceding triplet fibril, so it is Ca connective or Ca linker. So there is total 9 Ca linker. Okay, and from each A microtubule there is radial spoke is arising, which facing towards or move towards central part. So hub and A microtubule of each triplet are interconnected. Okay, these are interconnected, hub with the A microtubule of each triplet. So there is total 9 radial spokes are present. Okay, so this is the arrangement of the centriole. Okay, so this is centrosome, centriole. Okay, this is the topic. Now the new topic of this chapter is nucleus. Before this we have seen all the cell organelles which are present in the cytoplasm. Now we will talking about the brain of the cell, because it regulate the all the functions of the nucleus, sorry, of the it regulate all the functions of the cell. Therefore nucleus is known as brain of cell. Okay, so it was discovered by Robert Brown in 1831, but later the material of the nucleus stained by the basic dyes was given the name chromatin by Fleming. So in the second line it is talking about chromatin fibers. These chromatin fibers are can be stained with the help of basic dye. Why basic dye? Because chromatin is actually DNA. DNA is acidic in nature. Okay, if the DNA is acidic in nature, means because it is deoxyribonucleic acid, so it can be stained by basic dye only. So the Fleming was the scientist who stained this chromatin and explain forward. In the diagram you can see the nucleus. Nucleus is surrounded by endoplasmic reticulum, because nucleus is surrounded with the help of nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope is made up of two membrane, outer and inner membrane. Outer membrane is continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum. At on the rough endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes are attached. Similarly, from the outer membrane of the nucleus, ribosomes are attached. Okay, this nuclear envelope is not continuous. It is interrupted with nuclear pores. Okay, these nuclear pores are present, through which the materials like the RNA and protein can come inside the nucleoplasm and can go outside into the cytoplasm. Okay, all the liquid content of the nucleus is known as nucleoplasm, and all the genetic material which are distributed in the nucleoplasm is known as chromatin. Okay, it is actually DNA, and but this DNA is uh, in the loose form present in the nucleoplasm, so it is named as chromatin. And nucleolus, usually one or two nucleolus is present in the nucleoplasm. Nucleolus is also known as ribosome factory, because it is involved in the production of ribosomes. Okay, this is the diagram, and in the detail you can see in the next slide. Normally there is only one nucleus per cell. Variations in the number of nuclei are also frequently observed. For example, usually you can see one nucleus, but in some cells there are more than one nucleus are present. For example, paramecium, it contains two nucleus, and at some stages of the fungi, multiple nuclei may be present. Some mature living cells even lack nucleus, means they are living, but they do not contain the nucleus, like erythrocytes, means RBC cells. RBC cells of the mammals, uh, initially it contain the nucleus, but when it matures, the nucleus degenerate. Similar case in the sieve tube of the vascular plant. Sieve tube of the phloem also, when it matures, it remove its nucleus, or nucleus becomes degenerated. Okay, the interphase nucleus. Interphase, we will discuss about this, what is interphase, because in the cell division, in the cell cycle, two phases are present. One is interphase, another is dividing phase. In the dividing phase, cell will be divided, and interphase, cell do not divide. Um, it remain metabolically active but do not divide. So during the interphase, nucleus of a cell, when it is not dividing, has highly extended and elaborated in the elaborated nucleoprotein fibers called chromatin. Nuclear matrix and one or more spherical bodies called nucleoli, means these are the things which you can see in the in a nucleus. Okay, so we will discuss one by one. Already discussed in the diagram, but here in the written form you can see in quick view. Nuclear envelope. Electron microscopy has revealed that the nuclear envelope, which consists of two parallel membranes with the space between 10 to 50 nanometer, called the perinuclear space. Okay, means this is nucleus, which is made up of its membrane is known as nuclear envelope, and this nuclear envelope is actually two membrane. This is outer and this is inner membrane, and the space between this, from here, this space is known as perinuclear space. This is perinuclear space. Okay, this is perinuclear space, and it is about 10 to 50 nanometer thick. From here to there, means the distance between the outer and inner nuclear membrane is 10 to 50 nanometer. Nuclear membrane, which is okay, forms the barrier between the materials present inside the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Outer membrane usually remain continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum, we have seen in the diagram, and it also bears ribosome. Okay. Nuclear pore. At a number of places, the nuclear envelope is interrupted by minute pores, which are formed by the fusion of its two membrane. Where outer and inner membrane are fuses, there nuclear pores will be formed. These nuclear pores are the passage through which movement of RNA and protein molecules taking place in both the direction. Okay, that is in between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Nucleoplasm. This is the nuclear matrix or the nucleoplasm, and it is granular. It is made up of granular fluid which contain various enzymes and other proteins. Nucleolus. The nucleoli are spherical structure present in the nucleoplasm. The content of the nucleolus is continuous with the rest of the nucleoplasm because inside the nucleus, nucleolus is again a structure which do not contain any membrane. So there are how many structures in the cell which do not contain any membrane? First one is ribosome, second one is centriole and centrosome also, and this third one is nucleolus. It also do not contain membrane, so its material is continuous with the nucleoplasm. And nucleolus is the site for the active ribosomal RNA synthesis. Means RNA are of various types, three types of RNA: tRNA, mRNA and rRNA. So rRNA is produced in the nucleolus. Larger and more numerous nucleoli are present in the cell, actively carrying out protein synthesis. Ribosomes are the site for protein synthesis. So for making more RNA, ribosomal RNA, for making more of the proteins, we required most of the ribosomal RNA or the ribosomes, and for more number of ribosomal RNA, we will require more number of nucleolus. Okay. Chromosome. The interphase nucleus has a loose and indistinct network of nucleoprotein fibers called chromatin. We have seen in the diagram of the nucleus the thread-like structures which are spreading in the nucleoplasm is chromatin. But during the different stages of the cell division, cell shows a structured chromosome in place of nucleus. Means when cell comes under the division phase, then this chromatin fiber will condensed and it will form the chromosome. The chromatin contain the DNA. Actually the chromatin is DNA and some basic proteins which is called histone proteins, and again and along with that some non-histone proteins and RNA also present along with the chromatin. Okay. A single human cell has approximately 2-meter long thread of a DNA which distributed among its 46 chromosomes or 23 pair of chromosomes. So in these lines what it is trying to saying means in humans, in every cell there is total 46 chromosomes are present, which are present in paired form. So total 23 pairs are present. Okay, and how this chromosome is formed, you can see in the diagram. This is the DNA. You know that this DNA actually forms the chromatin. This DNA coiled and form chromatin. And for the coiling of this DNA, some protein will be help, like histone protein, some non-histone proteins, and RNA. These all the things which helps in coiling of the DNA. And when it undergo excess coiling, known as supercoiling, then it will form chromosome. Okay, in the very detail we will discuss in 12th class how this chromosome form from the DNA. So actually the chromosome is actually the DNA, which is very much coiled form of the DNA. Okay, and this coiling is helped by some proteins like the histone, non-histone, and RNA. Okay, structure of a chromosome, how it is looking. Every chromosome visible only in dividing cell, because in non-dividing cell, when cell is not divided, then this excess coiling of the DNA is not present. So chromosome will not will be visible in the form of chromosome. It will visible in the form of chromatin fiber. Okay, so every chromosome which is visible in the dividing cell essentially has a primary constriction or the centromere, on the side of which disc shaped structure called kinetochores are present. Okay, here you can see in the diagram. Centromere holds two chromatids of a chromosome. Okay, means if this is the DNA, sorry, if this is the chromosome, this is the chromosome. Okay, here this is one chromatid, means by it is making made by excess coiling of DNA, and this is another chromatid. So there is two chromatids. This is one chromatid and it is another chromatid. Okay, so this is one chromatid and this is another chromatid. Two chromatids in a chromosome are present. Both the chromatid are interconnected with a space, with a constriction. This constriction is known as centromere. Okay, here centromere, in the center part here centromere is present, and at both the corners of the centromere two disc-like structures are present. At means one disc-like structure present at either side. One is here, another is here. These two disc-like structure is known as kinetochore. This is proteinaceous disc, and it helps in joining with chromosome during the cell division. Sorry, it helps in joining with spindle fiber during the cell division. Means when this spindle will be formed, then chromosomes are attached here. So what is the glue for this attachment? The glue is kinetochore, proteinaceous disc. Okay, so it will help there, and this structure is known as chromosome. Two chromatid, one primary constriction. This here the primary constriction is present. This primary constriction is known as centromere. Okay, and on the centromere two disc-like structures are present, which is known as kinetochore. Okay, so this is the whole structure of a chromosome. Okay, total 46 chromosomes are present in a human cell, and out of 46, few chromosomes are something different. Total 5 pair chromosomes are different. They are known as satellite chromosome due to the presence of secondary constrictions also. Okay, sometimes a few chromosomes have non-staining region called secondary constriction at a constant location. This gives appearance of a small fragment called satellite. So in the diagram given below, here a special type of chromosome known as satellite chromosome is present. Okay, so total 5 pair satellite chromosomes are present in humans. okay, out of these 46. So here two chromatids, again it is attached with the help of centromere or the primary constriction. Again it is not stable, but sometimes here secondary constrictions may be present. So the part beyond the secondary constriction is known as satellite. So based on position of the centromere, the chromosomes can be classified into four types. Centromere may be present exactly in the mid part, then it will known as metacentric chromosome. So both arms will be equal, means this arm, this is known as P arm, this and this is P arm, and these two arms are known as Q arm. So these arms and these arms both are similar size, because centromere is present exactly in the middle, so it is known as metacentric. In submetacentric, the centromere is present slightly upward. So here you can see the difference. This arm is slightly smaller and this arm is slightly longer. In acrocentric, the centromere is present near the end, not at the end, near the end, due to which one arm becomes too much smaller, another arm becomes too much longer. And if we see in the telocentric chromosome, the centromere is present at terminal position, due to which only one arm is present, one side arm is present. Okay, this telocentric chromosome is absent in case of humans. Okay, all type of chromosomes are present in the humans except telocentric. So this is all about chromosomes and nucleus. The last cell organelle of a cell is microbodies, and the last topic of this chapter also. So many membrane bound minute vesicles called microbodies that contain various enzymes are present in both plant and animal cells. So there are some single membrane bound small, very small, minute cell organelles are also present. It contains some enzymes. Okay, it is present in both. So the three microbodies are named as peroxisomes, glyoxysomes, spherosomes. So we will discuss one by one. Peroxisomes, it is present in both plant cell and animal cell. Glyoxysome and spherosome, these two are present only in the plants. Function: peroxisome involved in metabolism, means production of H2O2, means peroxide, again breakdown of H2O2 into water and oxygen. So it is metabolism in case of plant cell. But in case of in case of animal cell, it is involved in metabolism, and in case of plant cell, a special process taking place there known as photorespiration. We will discuss in the photosynthesis chapter about photorespiration. This is one of the cell organelle which will present there in this process. So we will discuss in detail there. Peroxisome provide two functions. One is metabolism and photorespiration. Glyoxysome, it convert fat into carbohydrate. This is known as gluconeogenesis, because here fat forms the carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is formed from a non-carbohydrate substance, so it is known as gluconeogenesis. This process taking place during the germination of seed. And spherosome, it is involved in the synthesis and storage of fat in the fatty acids. So it occurs during the production of seed. When seed is forming, especially the fatty seeds, then spherosome stores the fat. Okay, so this is all about the cell, the unit of life. In the next lecture we will discuss about the cell cycle and mitosis, meiosis, and the biomolecules. Okay, thank you class.